welcome to the Gavel. I'm Linda Akibi. The contest for the seats of the principal officers of the 10th Assembly took a new dimension recently as the ruling All Progressives Congress officially announced its preferred candidates for the positions of Senate and Deputy Senate President, as well as Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. Now, some of the contestants who had signified interest to contest for these positions were unhappy with this development and presented their complaints to the party. Now, this has not stopped some lawmakers who are contesting for these positions to continue with their campaigns. Our eyes are on the APC to see how it will manage these issues. And it's obvious that elections after the inauguration in June this year will be pretty intense. Anyway, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, publicly endorsed the APC's candidate for Speaker, Mr. Tajuddin Abbas, during the week. We also spoke with some incoming federal lawmakers-elect on the leadership issue, as well as the expectations for the incoming 10th Assembly. Some members-elect of the House of Representatives, under the auspices of a joint task force of the 10th Assembly, continued engagement ahead of the inauguration of the next assembly. The meetings, which have been largely to endorse the candidacy of Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, also involves members-elect from the other political parties that would make up the 10th Assembly. The Speaker of the House of Representatives and the APC's choice for Senate President were also in attendance. The Speaker goes down memory lane to make a case for party loyalty.
My core belief is that if you come here on the platform of a party, there's a saying all over the world, even in the most advanced democracy, that your party is always supreme. You will disagree with your party. Just like people will disagree amongst family members. But at the end of the day, the party is an organized structure. Let no one kid you. I'm here to offer advice. Let nobody kid you. We've done, and I've been the pioneer, the leader of what they call the House Project at one time, when Tambuwal was the Speaker and when we installed Tambuwal. I regret it. The incoming Speaker will tell you more about the travails and the problems we went through for 4 years. When we did that the first time and when we did that the second time. And I want you to hold that in stark comparison to what the last 4 years has been. Now, when you look at those 2 sessions and the last one that we're just rounding up, you have the benefit of being able to compare, and then you take a decision, an informed decision. Not once somebody tells you and says, oh, no, nobody's going to, the independence of the legislature cannot be compromised. That's hogwash. Nobody is compromising the independence of the legislature. Nobody. The least person that will do that is me. But because the fact that your party says this is where we're going, it doesn't mean that you're compromising the independence of the legislature. Even in the most advanced democracies, we just saw the United States elect their speaker about 3, perhaps maybe 4 months ago. The Republican Party, the majority party, and the members they all went one way.
He insinuates that he was betrayed by one of the candidates in 2015 and explains why he's supporting Honorable Tajuddin Abbas for Speaker of the 10th House.
That I decided to support the person that is least closest to me of everybody that is running. Because I saw in him a man with tremendous capacity. I want you to trust me. I want you to trust my judgment. I said to the people who zoned, why Northwest? And they said to me, go and read your political history. That from the day Nigeria was born, the Northwest being the largest voting bloc with 7 states, has never, ever been outside the top 4 hierarchy in Nigeria.
The candidates of the APC for leadership of the 10th National Assembly have this to say.
The first G is God Almighty. The second G is what? The God. And the third one is what? The government. May you conduct your affairs mindful of the admonition of my late mother by respecting the 3 Gs, particularly respect the government.
What you do today or these few weeks with us will determine how high you go, because you will not achieve alone. But we will join our hands to your own hands, and we will help you uphold the problems of your constituency, making sure that inequalities that exist between the old ranking members and the new members are dissolved, so that participatory inequalities will be ended, where the voices of various constituencies will be heard on the floor of the parliament. The voice of the parliament that is heard, the voice of the constituency that is heard, is a solution that is profiled through the resolution of the House. If you are not heard, you will not be heard. We are assuring you, my principal has told me that over and over again, that we will give you equal platform to showcase the needs for which you stood elected to solve for your communities. All you have to do is to work with us. And together, we will tell Nigerians that parliamentary sovereignty is achievable, just like the current leadership has pushed for it. We will sustain it. Together, we will tell Nigerians that impartiality of speaker is achievable and sustainable, just like the speaker that is here has commenced it. Together, we will tell Nigerians that the inequalities that we will balance will also include gender inequalities. Together, we will tell Nigerians that it is possible to innovate and to transform through legislative intervention.
In the 8th Assembly, it might amaze you, some people in this House wanted to break the majority party into 2. I was one of those who stood up and said, over my dead body, I would never accept the leadership of anyone except our majority leader, because he has done no wrong. If somebody has an ulterior motive of trying to do divide and rule, I will not be part of it. And it will amaze you. That time I spoke, I do not think Mr. Speaker has ever seen me in his office coming to even say hello to him. If I have cause to say hello to him, I do it in the chamber, at the chamber, not anywhere else. So that kind of relationship people are always trying to paint. There is a hidden agenda. There is a reason why Mr. Speaker is supportive of my candidature. I tell you, my honorable colleagues, and God is our witness. God is our witness. I have never sat down with Mr. Speaker for 1 second since the day I went to introduce myself to him, that he has ever sat me down to say, look, I am going to support you under so-so and so-so condition.
While these endorsements continue, the dust is still not settled, as some members of the APC who have indicated interest to contest for leadership positions in the 10th Assembly still hold on tightly to their ambitions, despite the clear position of the party.
How can I kick against my party? But I know they're in the lectures.
We listen to you, sir.
What the lawyer says? The lawyer says no one has the constitutional power, or it's a kind of exclusive power to me and my colleagues to decide on our leaders. Are there any wrong when I said I want them to choose me? I don't see it wrong, because I'm doing the exercise, I'm exercising constitutional responsibility. So I'm not kicking anything against my party or against anyone. But I'm saying that I'm trying to get the indulgence of my colleagues to trust me and hire me. At the same time, if I did wrong somewhere, they hire me. So the hiring and firing is the responsibility of, exclusive responsibility of members of the National Assembly. I'm not offending anyone.
Some lawmakers-elect speak on the leadership contest and the expectations in the incoming 10th Assembly.
The National Assembly of any nation is a reflection of that nation. So once the National Assembly is strong, it vibrates across the nation. So a weak National Assembly means a weak nation. A bad National Assembly, a bad nation. A corrupt National Assembly, a corrupt nation. If the nation is not doing well, the National Assembly is squarely to blame.
Parliament is a place where people are not, you don't delegate people as such. The parliamentarians are independent-minded at all times. That is not to say that the National Assembly will be quarreling with the executive arm of government. It's not so. The Constitution is very clear on the independence of the three arms of government: the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. So I think the best way to strengthen our democracy is to allow everybody to be on his lane. You do your own work, then expect others to do their own, and everything will go well.
First and foremost, I want to see a Nigeria that can boast of security. We have so much security threats, and the threats of security is mutating. In as much as it's complex, it's mutating a lot. You have the external security, you have the internal security. So I will help, make laws that will boost the efficiency of our security agencies to perform to optimal, capacity. Also, I'm looking extensively at empowering our youths. They say an idle mind is the devil's workshop, because our youths they don't have what to do. We will look at the issues of ICT, digital marketing, robotics, agriculture, improve our agricultural sector so that our youths can be kept busy, they can be self-sustaining, a lot of things, because they are the future leaders of tomorrow. But I know the future starts from today.
If you know me well, I am very, very gender conscious, and I intend to ensure, even in my programs, my zonal intervention programs, there's a lot of empowerment for women. I believe that women are the backbone of the family. They are the heart and soul of the society. And if they're not fine, society can never be fine.
We originated from villages. We know their pains. All the legislations that will have emanated from the two houses will have been to solve the problems and the pains of these people. Whereas the whole thing is escalating. Job losses, kidnapping. How many will I count? So if we have rooted our laws to solve these problems, it will have been okay. Many of these bids we were passing, how many were signed? The man there didn't take us serious because it's the way the two of them presented us to the man, to the president. So we wish that the imposition they did last one will not happen again, this one.
From our own perspective, we'll be able to create environment, laws, regulations that can guide the executive at different levels to do their job better. And if we have the same objective, as I do believe we have, there shouldn't be any problems whatsoever. I'm here basically to see whether we can effectively change the course of history of our country. I've seen it all, and I know where the shoe pinches. A large number of our people remain largely unemployed, not because we do not have enough resources, but because the resources are not being properly deployed. And they are not being efficiently monitored and deployed. And that is what I think we can bring to the table. Apart from that, we encourage our people to change their value system, to appreciate that the only way to success is still through hard work. And all these shortcuts that our younger ones are thinking about will not take us anywhere. It's a long-drawn situation because the thing has become quite bad over the years. But I do believe that it can happen. And it doesn't take a big crowd to make it happen. A few people.
You're welcome back to the Gavel. Let's take a look at some major activities in the National Assembly during the week.
The inclusion of independent candidacy in Nigeria's electoral process may soon become a reality, as the Senate is to forward the Constitution Amendment Bill to guarantee independent candidacy to President Muhammadu Buhari for assent. The Senate's decision to forward the Constitution Amendment Bill for assent followed the passage of the bill by some state houses of assembly, ensuring that the proposed legislation has met the constitutional requirements for passage and can now be sent to the President for assent. The Deputy Senate President, Ovie Omoagege, disclosed this new development to lawmakers during plenary session on Tuesday, May 16.
Aware, Mr. President, that Gombe State House of Assembly has now forwarded its resolution, convinced that with the approval of the Gombe State House of Assembly, the Constitution 5th Alteration Bill numbers 46, membership of the National Security Council to include presiding officers of the National Assembly 2023, and Bill number 58, independent candidacy 2023, have now met the provisions of Section 9, Section 2 of the Constitution for passage.
I imagine that Mr. President will have no difficulty assenting to these two bills because they are very straightforward. We are still working with the executive arm of government to see how the remaining 19 bills that we passed and the State House of Assembly also concurred that have not been assented to by Mr. President. These are very, very critical and important bills that will shape and support our democratic journey, and we hope that Mr. President and his team will look into them again before the expiration of this tenure.
The Senate has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to direct the CBN Governor, Mr. Gordon Emefiele, to pay out blocked funds belonging to airlines operating in Nigeria. The upper chamber made the request after a federal lawmaker, Senator Bala Nala, presented a motion during plenary session on Wednesday, May 17, on the inability of airlines to repatriate their funds from Nigeria to support their operations. He says the consequences of these blocked funds are that cheap flights are not available in Nigeria because taxes and inflation would have eroded the profit when the funds are kept for a long time, thereby making tickets very expensive.
The Senate knows that since January 2023, Nigeria has been the most challenging country to the world for the airlines to repatriate their funds to support their operations. Further knows that in February 2023, Nigeria alone amounted to 44% of total airline block funds in the whole world. Worried that the total airline block funds in Nigeria as at March 28, 2023 amounted to $717,478,606 million, comprising matured bids that the Central Bank of Nigeria is yet to deliver and bids yet to mature. Further regrets that the consequence of these block funds are that cheap tickets are not available in Nigeria because taxes and inflation will have eroded the profit when the funds are kept for a very long time, thereby making tickets very expensive and limited because neighboring countries get the cheap tickets because of prompt payment due to prompt repatriation of funds. Loss of revenue in the airlines and the nation by extension, airline companies folding and relocating to other neighboring countries, thereby depleting our nation's workforce, ultimately leading to unemployment rate and stoppage of foreign direct investment in aviation and other related industries in Nigeria.
If you look at the situation today, sometimes many people have to use Ghana, Togo, or other adjoining West African countries to get their flights to wherever they want to go to, which is more reliable. And I think what needs to be said here is that we have our aviation sector. There is a ministry, and they operate within the financial institution, so many people are having responsibilities. So what I can say here, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is that definitely there is something wrong. If our neighboring countries that are not as economically vibrant or buoyant as our own economy are getting a better deal, then there should be things they are doing perhaps that are right And in our own case, there are things that are happening that are not right. So I think even on an ordinary basis, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, we must come to a conclusion that something is wrong.
These airlines are already charging us money in autonomous fund. They are taking every ticket sold in Nigeria is being sold on 700 and something naira per $1, and not 400 and something naira to $1. So these airlines are cheating Nigerians. Because if you go to Ghana, go to Sierra Leone, I'm an airline operator. I can tell you I'm an airline operator. So this is the most expensive ticket ever purchased in Nigeria. It has nothing to do with the CBN. It has nothing to do with anybody. It just has something to do with the airlines. It's just that the Nigerian government have not agreed and agreed with Nigerian Airlines Association. From here to London can be $500. That is the truth. And that is what is being charged all over Nigeria and all over the world. From New York to Los Angeles, it's less than $700, and it's the same 6.5 hours flight. So these airlines continue manipulating our system and cutting out our foreign exchange.
According to Senator Naala, another dire consequence of the inability of airlines to repatriate their monies is that the airlines are folding and relocating to neighboring countries, further worsening unemployment in the country. Just like the Senate, President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the House of Representatives seeking approval for an $800 million loan to fund the National Safety Net program of the federal government.
You may wish to note that the federal government of Nigeria, under the conditional cash transfer window of the program, will transfer the sum of 5,000 naira per month to 10.2 million poor and low-income households for a period of 6 months, with a multiplier effect of about 60 million individuals. In order to guarantee the credibility of the process, digital transfers will be made directly to beneficiaries and mobile wallets.
The loan request has generated reactions amongst the public who question why the president will be seeking a loan for a 6-month program with about 2 weeks to the end of his tenure. Nigerians are also concerned about the increasing debt profile of the country. President Muhammadu Buhari will be leaving a debt of 77 trillion naira at the end of his tenure this month. Meanwhile, a motion to adjourn plenary due to the ongoing induction program for members-elect almost caused a division in the House during the session.
The House, the plenary was not in session. But today, because of the plenary, I have to be here while this program is ongoing, and I cannot be properly accommodated on the program at the induction ground.
I respect the view of my very distinct colleague, Honorable Isiaka, but I think, Mr. Speaker, this institution has a lot of memory. There's never been a time, because of induction, the House suspends plenary. And I don't know the rate of attrition in terms of those who are now back into the House, compared to the people who are now not returning, that will have to adjourn the House because of induction. I think there are many tribal issues in the country.
If we had not done that for the first batch, there won't be basis for this. So I want to appeal that if the training is ending on Friday, Thursday is the only sitting day, Friday we don't sit. I want to appeal that we do sincerely adjourn.
The Speaker puts the matter to vote and the House is adjourned.
This is where we call it a day on this week's edition of the Gavel. If you have any views on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us and see you again next week.